Somebody else is in the waiting room. Rosanna, if I make you somehow the co-host, can you let people in and out?
Sure.
Okay. I think I'm making you a co-host. Or not. Do you think you're the co-host right now?
I don't think so. It would say co-host next to my name.
Mm-hmm. It says co-host next to whoever meeting host. That's not helpful. Okay, well, we'll just figure it out. Alrighty. Okay, I think we've got everybody here, so I would like to call this meeting of May 1st, the town board meeting of May 1st to order at 7:04. I'll stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
a nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd ask everybody that's out there in Zoom land to please mute yourselves for now, because we get an echo in here. Okay, would you like to read the acknowledgement, the land and labor
I'm
acknowledgement?
ready to go.
Okay, please do.
This is the town's Indigenous Land and Black Labor Acknowledgement. The town of New Paltz humbly acknowledges that we are on the traditional lands of the Munsee, Esopus, and Lenape people. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the people to relocate to inhospitable territory far from the bountiful valley and mountains we inhabit today. The town further acknowledges that much of the physical structure of our town and village was built by enslaved Africans who labored as the property of their owners until 1827 on this very land. We acknowledge the contributions, resilience, and accomplishments of the BIPOC community who have overcome historic injustice to inform our past and inspire our future. Please visit the resource library on our town website to learn more.
Thank you. Before we move to approve the agenda, or maybe at the same time, I need to make a change, so I guess I'll move to approve the agenda and then we'll make the change. How's that?
Second.
Okay, the change is I want to move the executive session up to after Mr. Moriel's presentation.
Okay.
So we have, can we approve the amended agenda? All in favor?
Moved.
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Oh, there's SC Green. Okay.
So
Okay, so announcements very quickly. The New Paltz Rabies Clinic will be on Wednesday, May 21st from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Town Highway Garage, 42 Clearwater Road, New Paltz. Vaccinations for rabies are $15 each and will be administered by Dr. Laurie Stein, the traveling veterinarian. Heartworm medication is also available. Rabies certificates will be presented at the completion of the vaccination. These are essential for licensing dogs where they reside, as required by New York state law. Dogs must be leashed and cats must be in carriers, cash or check only. The Coolest Recycling Drive of 2025 is taking place again at the Recycle and Reuse Center. During the month of May, we'll be collecting refrigerant-containing appliances and properly recycling them. It's free to everyone, and we're talking refrigerators, window air conditioners, dehumidifiers, water coolers, and mini fridges. Anything that has refrigerants. Drop-off days are Tuesday, May 6th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Tuesday, May 24th from noon to 4, and Saturday, May 24th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We have important information about your drinking water if you receive municipal water from the village through the town. The village water system recently violated a drinking water standard. Although not an emergency, you all have the right to know the testing results from the first quarter of 2025 show their system exceeds the standard or maximum contaminant level for something called HAA 5. The standard for HAA 5 is 60 parts per billion. It is determined by averaging all the samples collected at each sampling location for the past 12 months. The level averaged at one of their system's locations for March was over the standard If you have a severely compromised immune system, and if you have an infant, you're pregnant, or are elderly, you may be at increased risk and should seek advice from your healthcare providers about drinking the water. The Village of New Paltz is conducting additional sampling at this time and taking other measures to control this level. For more information, please contact the Village of New Paltz at 845-255-0130. All right.
Just a quick technical question about that issue. How many households do we have in the town of New Paltz getting water from the village? We don't have our own system, water treatment system.
No, everyone has their wells except for between 250 and 350 people.
Households.
Yes, and some of them get water, some of them get sewer, some of them get water and sewer. This notice went out in the bills of everyone that has water, so they're being notified by that. Okay. Any more questions about that? Okay, so now we come to the part of the meeting for public input. Is there anyone here for public input? Okay, did you sign up?
Yes,
Thank you. Okay. Come on up.
you want to stand? Would you like a chair? Would you like to come and sit with us?
I can stand here.
Okay. So we want to make sure that Al picks you up, so talk to the owl.
Who is this now?
He
This
does
is
that.
Al the owl. Rosanna, can you hear Jackie? Speak.
Hi, my name is Jackie Brownstein. I am here on behalf of the UACT Housing Committee. And I want to comment on the template for affordable housing that I know it's just the very beginning of you looking at it. I want to say I appreciate that you're addressing this issue. And I've tried to read it rather carefully. I'm going to read it again, but as of now, I have some comments. First of all, you are talking about the requirement for affordable units for units that have 10 or more, apartments that have 10 or more units. I would much prefer, and our committee would much prefer, if it was 6 or more, as it is in the village. We have a paucity of affordable units, and there is a very small chance of us getting a full low-income apartment house. It's the only way we're going to be able to at least begin to deal with our housing crisis. So I would urge that it is reduced to 6 units and over. Also, you have 10% as the affordable
The
percentage.
template does, but that's,
The
yeah.
template, I know. I realize that, it's just the template. And I would like to say it has to be at least 15%, if not more. But it must be at least 15%, again, to give us the number of units that we really need to have in our community, and it still wouldn't be enough. Also, there's some comment in section D that talks about people with moderate income. That really has to be defined. I don't know what that means. And moderate income in any community is defined usually by the AMI, but
Right.
but in this instance, it didn't have that. Also, section F6 needs clarification. Is the pricing of the unit that is noted mean at the initial renting or buying? Because there's some issue about then what can you sell your unit for if you got it under an affordable.
Yeah, I think there's a way to use the consumer index inflation rate to make an adjustment for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't clear though in the
Yeah.
template, so maybe that has to be clarified.
Yeah.
This issue of dispersal of affordable units, I understand where it comes from, fair housing. But we have had this issue with the New Paltz Apartments, that if there's going to be a large development that is multi-use and could be students in that apartment complex. To have families be able to live successfully within those units, dispersal is a problem. There really has to be consideration of how do you group families? If, let's say it's all, I don't know, for a particular group of people like students. It would be very hard if it was a large complex like New Paltz Apartments to have families dispersed throughout the complex. So I don't know how you need to adjust that, but that's an issue.
It's an issue when they're segregated in their own space too. It seems like
It
it's,
is,
yeah.
and I know that balance is a problem. But sometimes the rule can defeat the purpose. And the purpose is not to discriminate against people and lower income, but I think we have to look at that and think about ways to deal with that issue. I also didn't understand in section G4, was the size of the affordable unit allowed to be smaller than the market rate units? Is that in square footage? If it is, I think that's discriminatory. It should be, from my understanding, exactly like the market rate units. It can have different appliances that I know and different counters, but I've never seen that it could be reduced in size from the other units.
I'm gonna put a note in the thing. I don't see it as you're seeing it, but I will make a note to check on that.
So I think one thing we need to remember is this is going to be a topic that on our agenda.
Mhm.
So if you want to, go through it in that level of detail, because we need all these notes. And I know
Okay.
you've sent them to
I
us.
can
Yeah.
get you all my notes.
Okay, okay.
But again, section 1F, it's about what if income rises for a particular affordable unit if the family income rises. It should exclude college students' income who are working, let's say, in a work study in college, or there are also summer youth programs for low-income youth. And I would hope those incomes would not be calculated. And that in N3, eviction from affordable units should follow good cause eviction standard. And that doesn't seem to be the case in that particular section. Oh, then another one, and maybe I didn't understand this, Kitty, but in O, if an owned affordable unit, a condo or a house, can the number of residents living in it be restricted after initial purchase? My point with that is, I own a home. If my kids, lost their income, I can certainly have those children back into my home. So I was confused about that. Again, seeming that it was discriminatory. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. You've
You're welcome.
taken a good look at it,
All right.
probably better than some of us have, but we intend to discuss this during our session today. We intend to look at what's in the village and already and find out from them how it's working and whether they've run into hurdles or issues with certain things. So it's definitely a work in progress. And we will be seeking expert help, Randall Guru, to help us with this once we get something that's more of a working draft, because right now we're just getting started. So,
Question,
yes.
Will, Jackie's interesting and detailed note we enter into the record as that. The notes that she.
Typically, public comment is just noted that she made comments. So we'll keep it for when we're
Mhm.
working to use it. Yeah.
We have a copy that she mailed to
Yeah.
us, so we can,
Is there anyone else here for public comment? Anyone on Zoom for public comment?
I have a letter from Paul Brown. Is Paul there?
Nope.
Oh, Susan Denton, that's right. Yes.
I wasn't sure exactly what format this was gonna take tonight. I do have a couple of things I wanted to say just about, where we are, and I know you have an HSCI section for your agenda later, so I wasn't sure where I would fit in.
Okay, well, so we also have a guest here tonight making a presentation, and we promised them they could, start at the top of the meeting. So if it's something that's got to do with one of our other topics that we're gonna spend more time on, maybe it's a good time to bring it up when we're actually doing that part of the agenda.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else for just generic public comment?
I have
Any
this
kind?
letter from Paul Brown. On Zoom.
Nope. Paul Brown's not on Zoom.
No, well, he asked us to read it, said it. Earlier today, to the town of New Paltz board members. According to the data presented by the consultants at the April 29th, 2025 village board meeting. Village taxpayers could see a decrease in their property taxes between 11.3% and 17.5%. The LaBerge Group reported that taxpayers in the town outside the village could experience an increase of 1.9% or surprisingly, also see a decrease of 3.3 to 5.6%, and it has some screenshots attached. This information is significantly different than past studies have shown, and if correct, means that the village dissolution is not likely to have that serious negative financial impact on town outside of village taxpayers. Will the town government be checking on the accuracy of these figures and the appropriateness of the methodology used by the LaBerge? Will the town government be exploring the long-term impact of inflation of the significance of the CETC tax credit? With a 2.5% annual inflation rate, the impact of the CETC will shrink, while the expenses to the town will be increased each year by at least the same percentage. And he has included another chart. With the fiscal impact of the CETC, will this fiscal impact apply to commercial businesses and non-owner occupied rental properties? It does not seem fair that town outside of village residential taxpayers should be forced to subsidize the tax rate applied to businesses situated in the village. Thank you for your service to our community. So that
Who was that from again?
this is from Paul Brown,
Okay.
who was very involved in the original consolidation decision. So the short answer, I have pages of notes from the April 29th meeting, and we will be looking at the meeting that we all attended that night, and we'll get some conclusion.
My understanding is that was recorded and there's probably the slides or something out there. Yeah.
The audio is illegible.
Oh. Oh, because of the echo. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm hoping maybe the village will provide a transcript, but even the
Oh,
closed caption are hard to follow.
okay, but that AI thingy does those transcripts. So I'm pretty sure they were
Okay.
running it. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay. All right. Any more public comments from anyone here or on Zoom? Okay, great. Then we would like to move to our guests tonight and the presentation they're making for us on the project of New Paltz Apartments so that the town board can get up to speed on this.
You want to sit down?
We
Sure.
can bring a bunch of chairs.
That's fine.
We've got lots. Hey, I wasn't sure if you were gonna need to put anything, okay, we'll just try to make sure the Zoom people can see it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work, but we'll try. This is really, we don't have to share. It was just more for a quick
Oh,
visual
okay,
reference.
okay.
Or. Thanks. So you just go chair, stand from chair.
All the chairs we got?
Thanks for having us.
No, thank you for coming. We appreciate this.
I'll leave off. My name's Mike Sturthouse. I'm an attorney with law firm Whiteman Oshman and Howe, based in London. And I am the attorney for Andrews Wave and Beautiful Monster LLC. And they are the petitioners who have filed an annexation petition with the town and the village of New Paltz. So I think the purpose of appearing this evening is a couple-fold. First, to introduce our team. Second, I think we can touch on the petition itself. It's fairly self-explanatory, but we can talk about that. But I think from what I understood in your discussion, you'd really like to hear more about the development project that petition is associated with. We also hope that the board would consider our request that we have filed to have the joint hearing with the village board of trustees changed from the current date of May 15th to June 5th. So they can accommodate not only the petitioners to appear, but also we understand the village has some scheduling conflicts as well. So, and the purpose under the annexation law is to have a joint hearing. We hope we can get the cooperation of both boards, find that date that works for both. And, the day on the table right now is June 5th for consideration.
Right.
So, with me this evening, I guess if everyone want to introduce
Sure.
themselves.
I'm Tom George with development team for the Commercial Street Partners. And been before several other people over the years. And we've been working on this property now since I think early 2000 or 2020.
Okay, wait, you just jumped. It sounds like.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. It feels that long. Feels like that. But yeah, I think we first approached the previous town supervisor and then village mayor, still being village mayor, and talked about what was the best process to develop this project, which was to consider annexation for several reasons, not any reason we'll touch on, but that started in early 2020, and we did receive our final secret determination in December of this past year.
Okay, thank you. Let's go next.
I'm Michael Moriello. I'm one of the principals of Beautiful Monster LLC. I'm the part owners of the property.
So wait, what monster's beautiful?
It's a game I used to play with the kids when they were little.
Okay.
It had to do, we used Jean's nail polish.
Oh,
Yeah, but that's a long story. Anyway, but and I have also been the lawyer for the project during the pendency of all the secret review. I was the lawyer.
And I'm John Mullen, partners with Mike and with Andrews Wave.
Okay. You want to tell me why that name's that name? No.
It's named after my son that drowned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
That's sad.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're trying to keep it going.
okay, yeah, something in this,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Thanks for that.
No, thanks for sharing. Okay, all right, so what do you gents want to tell us today?
So I think first off, on the petition, it was filed last month. The petition contains multiple parts, it contains the initial petition, which explains, what we're requesting from the town and the village. It explains the real property that's at issue. It also goes into fairly good detail with regard to, all of the reasons we believe that the annexation is in the overall public interest, which is a critical decision point for both town board and village board. That decision relates to the overall public interest of the annexation territory and those living within the territory, as well as the overall public interest of the town, the overall public interest of the village. And again, the overall public interest of many of the school districts or other service districts that might be affected by the annexation. The petition also contains a very, meets and bounds description of the property at issue. They said it's approximately 60 plus or minus acres. It contains the certification by the town assessor that verifies that the petitioners, the two corporations, Andrews Wave and Beautiful Monster LLC, own greater than 20% of the overall assessed value of the annexation territory. Petition finally contains the entire secret record, as Mr. Moriello spoke of. This project is the annexation is a component of a development project that has multiple town and village approvals associated with it. And there has been, a coordinated seeker review that was completed, I guess was completed at the turn of this year with the finding statement issued by the village board, that village board planning board. And that was a coordinated seeker review, full EIS, DEIS, FEIS, and a finding statement issued by the village planning board.
When you say coordinated, I always thought that meant there were multiple entities, but I don't think that's what you mean.
No, pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, there is the notion when a project has multiple agencies who have one layer of jurisdiction or another, whether it's approval, funding, undertaking the project, there is the need to conduct an environmental review of the potential significant impacts of the project. There is a lead agency that takes the lead over all of those other agencies who have approval authority at some point in the process. The village planning board designated itself as lead agency. They went through the full process of notifying all the other agencies, town board, village board, town planning board, that they were going to conduct a coordinated review. Everyone agreed that the village planning board was best suited to do serve as lead agency, and they conducted the seeker.
Okay.
Again, it's a very elaborate seeker review. That is all part of the petition. Petition record contains the draft EIS, the final EIS, all the public comments. My understanding of the process, it was very robust, and there was a lot of really, I think, important and good changes made to the project as a result, which is what you want the process to do.
So does the petition application reflect those changes?
Yes.
Okay.
We want to show them.
So that, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to give you a kind of a lead in on the petition itself and the annexation process. The process is governed by statute, and the statute is very clear on step-by-step process that the board is supposed to take, who to send notices, how to send notices, when to send notices, how to conduct that joint hearing, the time periods for conducting the time hearing, for conducting the public hearing.
By the way, we'll talk about that when we talk about changing the date, but yeah.
And again, those time periods are important, but they're also flexible when there's coordination between the village, the town, and the petitioners. And that's what we hope, one of the purposes for being here tonight is to try to engage in that cooperation and move that forward. So that's the petition, but I think a lot of what you wanted to hear about was the project itself. And again, the benefits of the project are built right into the petition itself. So again, that's the purpose for, the reason Tom is down there here to show you a bunch of schematics and talk about the project.
Okay.
So there's obviously a lot to a project like this, and it's been in the works for 20 or no, for
You're
longer than
really stuck on that.
it's not 20 years, just again. And to his point, at a coordinated review, so many different agencies and entities and interested parties and public and days of public hearings contributed to this, now, which is now an approved at least seeker determination, and it helped going through that process for 4 years, basically really drove the site plan itself. So the site plan has really kind of been reflective. It is now reflective in in what seeker is telling us really what to do and how to do this. So it is, I'll share this just real quickly. I'll send this around if you'd like. Pass one down, that's here as well. There you go. And this just, there's 3 separate pages.
Let's see, I can see it or not. No,
No.
okay, it's just a schematic of the layout of,
Want me to hold?
No.
it's just so that people over there know. Okay.
And you guys can keep this. This is, so this was the original site plan that we proposed.
Okay.
And then the second pages are what was it's now consolidated down to. And at a high level, we originally had 240, almost 250 units proposed. And with 724 bedrooms. This is a market rate project, but operated in an effort to help house students. But it is, again, open to the public, to anyone can live here. So I've developed dozens and dozens of student housing projects across the country, and we have mix of all types of residents. They are not necessarily always students, that sometimes they are families, sometimes they are professors, a lot of people who are affiliated with the university, employees. But the majority of our residents end up being students, but we provide housing for one bedrooms all the way up to 5 bedrooms, so they can be accommodated to large groups as well. The project now through seeker has been reduced. What we originally had, like I said, was I think probably about 250 down to 200 units. We incorporated and we removed a lot of the land disturbance down to, I think, less than 40% of the overall acreage. It's a 60-acre property. I think. Yeah. We've connected a walking trail into the campus. We can actually on the second page, you'll really see it's a better view. We have a new solar field that will help provide, actually that size solar field will provide all of the electricity required for all the common areas, the exterior lighting and the clubhouse building. We've kept the design down to 1 and 2 story buildings. So the visual impact of it is, negative. There is no visual impact. You probably won't actually see much of the project from Route 32. It's obviously it's a project that has been talked about quite a bit in the community for the last 4 years. And it is aligned with a lot of the housing needs in Ulster County. We coordinated a lot of work with the the Village Affordability Board, both on operations and a lot of the issues that were just brought up during the public comment about segregating those affordable units, and that they can't be, that it is integrated into, and everyone is, if you qualify, you qualify, and the operation of the property can't discriminate against that, and the village's affordability board or entity will select and place those applicants into it. So we, as the operator and owner, won't have any of that control. That'll be actually dictated by the village's affordability board. And I think that's about it.
So when the 200 units, from the 250 went to 200, what did the number of bedrooms end up?
It went to about 100 bedrooms. Went from 720 something to 724 to 612. So we moved 100 plus bedrooms, so 100 plus potential residents.
Okay, and that's because you took out,
Yeah, it was like a big neck of the project. Yeah.
okay. And
Some of
did-
the comments, Supervisor, that we got from the town planning board, from Kitty, from some of the people that took part in the public hearings, said you're too close to the wetland areas. We observed 100-foot buffer minimum everywhere with wetlands. That pulled some of those units back. And then there were various people that wanted us to incorporate solar into the project, which Tom did. And that I think has made a lot of those comments that we went through, made the project much nicer than what the original iteration.
So is there solar on any of the rooftops?
No, not on
Okay.
the roof.
That's the cheapest.
Parking lot, canopy, solar,
Oh, they're really along the,
that was just one of the requests. So where is the solar?
that right there.
Yes.
Second page.
Look at
The second page.
Yeah,
See that
great.
little, that stripy looking thing?
Yeah, great.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
good.
Okay, okay, well, this is helping a lot, because even reading the petition, the numbers were bouncing around, because some of the documents I think were older, and I was like, oh, it says this, then it says that, so it's kind of confusing. All right, that helps. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I think that's it for me, unless you said specific questions.
Obviously, a lot of these materials are part of the secret record,
Yeah.
and they are on the website.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously heavily documented throughout the whole process, being public the entire time. So yeah, the seeker, all the backup to the seeker determination findings are all available online.
Right. I think you actually gave us some giant binders too.
Yeah, we gave you the,
Yeah.
like, a paper copy of
Yeah.
it.
Because we want those, of course. We can write on them. Okay. True. So one of the things I've wondered about is the entire piece of property is about 129 acres, right?
Yeah, but-
But this is 60 something, and that's the part you want to annex.
Correct.
Was there some reason you didn't subdivide it first? To me, it just seems confusing because we're talking about We're talking about a thing that's a tax parcel that's big and you want to take a part of it. So
We couldn't, under seeker, we have to look at all of the impacts together, all as one, at one time. So we weren't able to segment that portion of the project and say, you can do lawful segmentation under seeker but you can't do it when you're asking for a zoning change. It's not permissible. There's a test that's very famous that was made famous in a couple of cases. And Concerned Citizens versus Agata is a very famous case where the court said there's a two-part test for legal segmentation. The first part of the test is, and it's an easy one to pass, is that what you're doing in the second instance can be no less protective of the environment than in the first instance. That's easy. You just say we're going back through seeker from the beginning. The hard part is, the second part of the test is like a but-for analysis. And what they say is, in that test, but for the zoning change, you couldn't lawfully do this project. So if what you're doing, the court said, is practically determinative, that's the wording they use, of what your second part of the process is going to be, you can't do it. So when you rezone, if you didn't get the zoning change, or if you didn't get a use variance or something like that, if you didn't get the zoning change, you wouldn't be able to do the project. So we couldn't use lawful segmentation to do this project. That's, we had to look at
would you
the
like to,
entire
would
thing.
you like to join
get
us
some
up
more
here?
chair.
Victoria?
I just wanted to ask a question, like, I think the
Victoria, let's
question.
get your chair.
Oh, okay. It wasn't about seeker, as much as now that seeker's over, why aren't you seeking the subdivision before the annexation?
Well, I'll let the
I think
annexation
that
expert
what you're
answer.
saying is you're annexing a portion of a property
Yeah.
that doesn't have a line. to it. You know, that,
Because again,
yeah.
Can we get here from there?
What's it here?
No, I'm good, I'm good. Butting into your conversation.
Well, everybody's got to have their own lawyers here, so that's, sorry, that bad thing right there.
Okay, hi.
so, generally the reason is because as private property owners, we can seek to annex what property we want to move into the village.
Can you
Again.
introduce her for the public?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, yeah, that's a good idea.
This is Victoria Polidoro, and she's been working with the town on this particular project.
And so again, the annexation doesn't require that the annexation territory that is going to be transferred from town to the village be coincidental with lot lines. And so again, the territory needs to be described by meets and bounds, which it is in the petition, done by a surveyor. There is a survey of the area, the territory to be in. So,
So the annexation de facto subdivides it.
no.
Oh, it ends up in two different places, so
The
yeah.
lot will be within both municipalities, which again.
It'll be
happens
a
for-
single lot.
Right.
But I guess the answer is you've chosen strategically not to apply for the subdivision first, but to apply for the annexation.
We have a lot of things that we were working through and that's,
Yeah.
this is, we wanted to ensure that the annexation was complete. So that we could then move forward with the rest of the approvals, including subdivision and on down the list with regard to the development.
Well, okay, this complicates it in our minds, because it looks like we're doing something that, is fictitious in a way, because it's like, there it is with SBL, tax parcel designation, and we're picking a part out that we haven't separated officially into two tax parcels.
Amanda, for the sake of the public, you gotta keep it simple and we're short on time also. But can they define how many acres are involved in?
60,
60, and all 60 acres are being annexed.
no, we got six, it's 129 is in the whole parcel, but a portion of that, 60, is they asking to have.
That's the question for the public out there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And again, the 60 is the currently vacant and developed property, which is important.
so I'm sure it's in that folder binder thing that you gave us, but I know that you mentioned somewhere plans for the other adjacent lots. Some are gonna be under conservation easement and agricultural easements. Could those be identified in that way on this map? So that when we look at this map, we see that parcel number 2 is going to be under conservation easement or agricultural easement. I'm sure it's in the text of the binder that you gave us, but it'd be great if you could see it here.
Yeah, the agricultural conservation easement
Yeah.
on Kitty was arrived at during the pendency of seeker. That will be that whole area, which is about, I'm gonna say 11 or 12 acres, that comes from Route 32 south, down past the northerly portion of the lot that my daughter Chelsea
Basically, all the
lives
frontage, all the frontage on
at, and all
32.
the way back over to where Bella Terra is. So that'll all be forever open.
So this is Bellaterra, right?
lost.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
And
this
if you
this
could
area
put
all along the,
Easement on
Yep.
There.
All
that'd
along.
be
Yep.
so helpful.
Okay, so from
And who's
From-
holding the easement?
there to there.
we don't have any, it's gonna, yeah, we don't have a third party holding it. We've done it both ways. We
Mhm.
planned it both ways, Victoria. Either a third party would hold it, or we will put a permanent deed restriction on the property that it can only be used for agricultural use and never developed.
And the planning board, the village planning board said either was appropriate.
Yeah, they didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I have mixed feelings about it because I do a lot of conservation easements, a lot of work with conservation easements. They're very difficult to work with small parcels, I've found. I think it's easier a lot of times to do it with no build restrictions, restrictive covenants that the town or the village, the municipal entity can enforce if they need to. But either way, we'll make it happen.
So what I've found with deed restrictions is sometimes they just get waived, later, so.
Not the way I write them.
Okay.
Sometimes
You
they
didn't
come
say-
with an endowment. monitoring.
Easements.
Yes.
The
Yes, they
easements do because they require monitoring.
Yeah, it all depends on who's gonna be the holder of the,
So,
until that's determined.
yeah, I'm sure Mike knows all the eligible players, like land trust. and
Yeah, but
village
I guess what we
Council.
just need to understand is it, is it that?
Yep,
Okay.
essentially. Yep.
Okay. All right, and this road goes through it, and this, but it goes around this house.
It would, yeah.
Okay. All right, I think I had another question. I can't remember what it was. Oh, so these units, the units, here's a unit, right? And then there's bedrooms in the units, is that right? So a unit is a thing that
And then
contains
the-
multiple
let's speak
bedrooms.
up.
A unit is a thing that contains multiple bedrooms,
Mhm.
right? Okay, and it can be anywhere from 1 to 5?
Mhm.
So there could be a unit with a single bedroom in it?
Mhm.
And do they adjoin, they abut others? They're not standalone site, right?
Yeah, no, they're all connected.
Connected,
Yeah.
okay.
And they're individual walk-ups. There's no internal connections to these, so there's no like common areas. So to speak, so everybody has their own individual walk. It's really more like a townhouse community,
Mhm.
more neighborhood style than,
Of the units, right?
no, the entire development is more of like a neighborhood style. They're all
Right.
townhouse styles.
But a unit will have its own individual entrance.
Yep,
But
correct.
then within, those bedrooms will each have their own. You're renting the bedrooms, not the units, right?
Yes, we're renting by the bedroom, yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. All right, very good. So any more questions right now?
Could we have?
I have a question.
Oh,
Oh,
hey,
Randall.
Yeah, and the hour is late where I am, and I might sound a bit up here, but the first question I have is, why would you not come to the town and ask for a change so that you could out annexation? Number two, in comments, you reference numerous times public interest, and I've looked and looked and looked the document that you submitted, and I'm not really finding any specifics with respect to public interest. So if you answer those two things for me, I'd appreciate that.
So did you, I know it broke up a little bit, but the question is, why do you want to annex it? Why don't you just come do the project in the town?
First reason was, I think, was utilities, getting water and sewer to it and utilizing existing water and utility systems and upgrading those that we would be doing to the overall system that are owned by the village. And that was a decision made by the previous supervisor and the current village mayor. And that was the direction
So
we took collectively.
Would you not be able to still get water and make those upgrades if it was still the town? What would, I mean, the village frequently provides water residents outside the village, and in fact, it probably makes a bit more money from providing that water to
They do provide it to the
You-
whole city campus.
We have
units,
Yeah, we have districts.
units outside the village.
Right. Okay, so that was just a question.
That was it. Did I answer that correctly?
I mean, listen, under an annexation, the critical component is unity of purpose. And the proposed development that is being considered has a very concentrated purpose that is unified with the development that currently exists within the village. And again, it's where you want your residential development to be, is in the core of your community. And this project is directly adjacent, as it has to be under an annexation, directly adjacent to the village. And, there is concentric unity of purpose in that type of development. The services that are going to be provided to not only the residents within the units themselves, but also to the residents of the town and the village from that proximity of the property, which is extremely important as one of the goals for an annexation.
What was the second question you
Well,
had?
so let me ask this question. So you're indicating that there's some interest to having us let you guys annex to the village. Meanwhile, village process of thinking about and asking its residents and voters to dissolve its government. So this seems to be a waste of money to go through this process when at the same time, currently you have a village government or that's asking its residents to dissolve itself. So it's costing taxpayers money to go through this process with you when the place you want to be doesn't even want to exist.
Well, it is a little complicated.
Well, it's complicated, but it's fact.
Do you want to stay there and talking about that?
Well, I mean, we've been in the process for 4 years. We hoped that we would have gotten through it in 2 years, but it was a very, very lengthy review in front of the village planning board and very, very detailed. So it took longer than certainly longer than we had hoped or that we had thought. I can't speak to the timing of the village town stuff that's going on. I don't think in terms of the village town. I'm a townie. I've never thought of it as a village and a town. And most of the people that I grew up with don't think of it as the village and the town. They think of it as one New Paltz. So to me, it doesn't make any difference as long as it's one New Paltz. And this overall project, I really feel is in the spirit of one New Paltz. I can make several points, and I would just ask you if you take a look at the documentation, the public interest and the purported benefits are all listed in the documents and were studied at length during the pendency of seeker, which went very, very broadly into affordable housing. It went into preservation of land. It went into economic effects with the Camoin Associate, very detailed study. For instance, just from an economic standpoint, right now, the project area pays very little in taxes. It is vacant land with an agricultural assessment. So it does not pay very much in taxes. When this project is over, it's going to pay a boatload in taxes. And those taxes will be, 2/3 of them will be school taxes, as everybody pays, which will benefit the town and the village. The general taxes too will be significantly higher. So more importantly, I was just going to say, more importantly, I think that I see this project as helping not only the tax base, but helping set the tone for the college. The college at some point, right now, they're not building new dorms, but when they build new dorms, they just build them. They don't ask anybody what they think. They don't ask anybody what the impacts will be. They don't take a look at any of those things. They do the internal review that they do for seeker. They say we're exempt from your zoning law, and they don't even look at those impacts. So I think this sets a precedent, which will be very, very good in the future, that says this is how New Paltz wants to see development happen. And as important or more important to me is that I think we need multifamily housing in New Paltz. We have a desperate need for affordable housing. We have a desperate need for more campus housing near the campus, get people maybe out of the village. Some of the people that are in the village come live near the campus. And I think that's going to help with, quite frankly, what's happened over the past 40 or 50 years in New Paltz, which has been this gentrification of single family homes everywhere. We don't have enough multifamily. There's a lot of young people can't live here. There's a lot of older people that can't stay here. And I think that this will all benefit the overall town in the future. That's kind of my.
So we don't quarrel with any of that. The question is just the dissolution thing is looming. And if it happens in November, this all turns fruit basket upside down.
Then we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
I mean, none of us do. It's true. None of us do.
So
It's just one of those things that's kind of like, you're right. The timing for your project is a mess. But that's, doesn't mean that we have to proceed with what needs to happen according to the, the code, the law. Okay.
So I just have one question which you raised for me, which is that the state is exempt from zoning. They can do anything they want to. And I've always been puzzled by looking at this map where it says that the SUNY is zoned R3. But is it? I mean, if it's state land.
well, they have the entire project, the entire property of SUNY is multifamily. The highest density in the village is R3. I don't know if they're
But
zoned.
you've got the adjacent
Yeah, I don't know if
campus
they're-
here. There aren't families living on the campus.
No, but they are, all of it is multifamily. So that's the whole college is.
It's kind of weird because it can't really be because it's state, the zoning of the village doesn't apply to that property.
The overlay is
Confusing
there on the
about
zoning map.
this, where it says that it's subject to village zoning.
Well, it's there because you have a zoning map of how you want to see the village develop. And so, sometimes schools close, the state goes out of business. If they ever sold that land, now it's sold with with the zoning on top of it.
But it's state land.
Right, so so,
Well, it's not.
It's off.
So they
So
know.
the state gives it, sells it,
Oh,
unloads it.
okay.
It's all.
so
all
this
high
property
stuff.
is actually adjacent to state land right now. It's it's contiguous with SUNY right now.
It's contiguous with the SUNY campus land and the land owned by Goshawk LLC, which is the arm of the university. That's the land that's zoned RV in the town.
Which, yes, we have an RV, we have an RV zone and we have a planned unit development. We have a PUD overlay that we can apply to any property, so. Okay, well, it is going on 8 o'clock. Randall's looking real tired over there.
You have an early morning flight.
Yeah, he's got to get up and get on a plane, so, okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
And,
Thank you.
we will be voting on the change of the date. Now, you said your client was willing to waive the,
Any restrictions?
restrictions. Okay, so as long as we have that on a,
100%.
It was in the April 11th letter from Mr. Sturhouse.
I didn't like willing, I wanted does.
Is
Wait.
wait.
Yeah.
Will
Can
pay.
you just
Sure.
state that you have waived?
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
Your lawyer's
Yeah,
semantics,
lawyers.
come on.
Okay.
Ah.
I'll give you that.
And,
Now, let me just a quick question, and because I know that this timing issue for this hearing is up in question. My understanding is that we were on what the was it the 19th of
That's when we
March?
received it, yes,
Okay, so, under the law, we were required to set that hearing within a specific period of we received the document. So the question to the lawyer here is submit that later if you want, and if you were unable to do it time that we set this thing, so we wouldn't have this back and forth with respect to when you're available and what timing is for set hearing as required under the law. If you knew you were not going to be able to do it within the 10-day period or whatever it was, why not submit it later so that we wouldn't have had to go through this process of the back and forth? And then I've also, the village also had the ability to start this process of this joint hearing, so it didn't necessarily need to fall all on the town. Is that correct?
That's correct.
okay.
Why
So
not
everybody's very
do
sorry.
that?
We did.
Well, yeah, I
we-
understand that, but it's, I mean, we've spent an awful lot of time trying to move this around when
Yeah, it has
the-
been, you know,
the issue been stopped at the very beginning by
yeah,
providing this May 5th or May, so that, or whenever it was, so that it could be held.
Sure. The idea is there is a 20-day period for preparing, filing, mailing your notices, which is a notice of the hearing, which will require to pick a date. We anticipated that there would be collaboration once we filed, and we had requested that with our filing, the opportunity to collaborate, coordinate on scheduling. So we can get the
That
hearing.
meant the village could reach out to us as well. It wasn't
I-
one-sided. It should have been,
it's,
that.
it's,
but
yeah,
that didn't happen either, so.
The village board on April 9th, because I remember thinking, okay, this is all starting to roll. But I, you know, to Randall's point, I think it was Mike hand delivered the letter that you had written, and that set the clock. And so.
and then we jumped
we
through
were
hoops to get it
compliant.
posted and everything. So we were absolutely trying to get it done.
So now,
The board had no choice but to set the hearing so as not to violate the time periods. But now we have a request to
Right.
reconsider to accommodate the schedule, and so.
but we
Right,
were
that's
being
what we started
accommodated
tonight.
Yeah,
with that first
Well, yeah,
letter,
I just want to,
right?
I want to make it clear, I want to
And we
make
will
it clear
continue.
that we were doing what we were supposed
what
to do within
happens-
the time frame. And,
Right.
and, you know, the frustrating thing for me is all the hoopus is like, we're, you know, like dragging our feet and we're not being, trying to coordinate all of this stuff. And to me, it's both, because we've done, we're asked to do within the time frame that was given when those documents were delivered to us. And so this conversation that we're having about coordination goes both ways. The village can reach out to us and reach out to them, and they didn't reach out to us. So I just don't want this to be at the feet of this town board as if we were dragging our feet and we were stuck in the mud on this, being difficult.
yes,
They're all nodding.
okay. So,
We are not
No,
claiming you were
yeah.
difficult. We're,
Yeah.
which is why we
So-
filed our formal
So-
request.
so the other thing we understand is that we're allowed, if the public, you know, if the public input, the public interaction is so much that we have trouble handling it all in one hearing, or if there's a need to extend it to like whatever's being presented needs some additional whatevers, that we're allowed to do one extension within 10 days.
The hearing can be adjourned for a period of 10 days, no more than 10 days from the date of the hearing in the notice.
So would you be willing to waive that as well if we get such a massive turnout that we need more time?
Let's see what.
Because 10 days is pretty tight.
And,
turnaround
and
for
we have
people.
trouble getting spaces. We have
But
this
the,
space
the,
on
the,
certain
the
days.
import and the reason for those deadlines in the statute is so that one municipality or the other can't use the process to enlarge and just keep a hearing open for months and months at the expense of everyone time. And again, the statute is built in an effort to try to avoid gamesmanship by one of the municipalities that may not want to see the annexation happen. So one way for it not to happen, this will just drag it out for a while. And again, the law is written specifically to avoid that. There is in fact,
Absolutely understand, but I think in that case, we're not talking about a numerous extensions, perhaps it's one extension to a.
More than willing to cooperate and
Okay.
consider what the request is.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens now? But we are going to agree to hold the joint.
We will
grant
have
on-
a vote.
But so each municipality posts the whole publication thing, we publish it again with a different date.
I would ask that your attorney collaborate with the village attorney and maybe do joint notices
Okay.
and work on a system. Again, there's publication requirements, there's posting requirements, and there's mailing requirements.
I mean, we'll work with the village attorney on getting that posting done. The way I was reading it, because we're not within that time frame, it has to be done prior to 20 days before the hearing, but
Right. Once you set your date and issue your notice, the hearing has to be no less than 20 days,
No
no
more than
more than
40.
40 days.
But if we're looking at June 5th, we can figure that out and make sure we get it
I
done.
think there's plenty of.
You know,
Exactly.
Our paper comes out once a week. We have this room twice a month. You know, there's things like that we got to work around and make sure we
So
can get it.
will this project be subject to the pink flags that we put up when something is coming before the planning board with the public hearing?
Because it's not, it's
not a planning board
it's not-
action.
it's
The
not-
zoning,
But it would sort of alert the neighborhood that something's coming, if you felt like.
you could certainly ask them to put out the flags on the
Would you
trailer.
like to put flags out? Just, we're asking, you're not obliged to, but,
from my perspective, I'll just reel it back quickly. We did the pink flags, we did that entire notice already, and we had 111-day public hearing process, which was not overly attended by people. As a matter of fact, I've done probably a dozen EISs in 34 years. And this is by far the least controversial of the ones that I've done as far as the environmental review goes. It was remarkably devoid of a lot of opposition from an environmental standpoint. There was a lot of thought that went into it, and the village planning board did a really good job. They coordinated to some degree with the town planning board too, who came to some of the meetings, gave their input, they incorporated that in. So I really would like to I'd like to stick with the procedure that is allowed. That's not
fair enough.
changing.
We here in New Paltz, as you know, we have a weekly newspaper that not everyone reads. We have things that get posted on the town and village board websites and announcements that not everyone sees. It is hard to communicate to everybody. And then afterwards we hear, I didn't know, we didn't hear about it. Or, you know, it's all being done behind, so we want to just be very transparent and open. It's hard to get it out. So the more ways we can make sure people, have some idea, the better.
Yeah, I mean, the project has been in review for
That's why it's
4 years.
become
It's gone
like-
through a
yeah.
tremendous amount of public hearing process already. And I'm fairly familiar with the word of mouth in New Paltz and especially with the websites and things like that. I don't think that people aren't gonna know about it.
We hear it all the time. We hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But we also understand, important things like the budget. Who comes to the public hearing about the budget? Okay,
That's 100% correct.
So does this require neighbor notification? Do you need to send?
yeah, but they're not
that
there's
already?
nobody that close.
Pardon?
There's nobody that close.
And the notice is to be mailed to residents within the annexation territory, and I don't believe there are.
There's like,
Well,
it's-
the two
not
outlets.
adjacent one.
And the two corporations as well, right?
So it's not the adjacent, like,
it's,
Foxtel, those
No,
people.
those notices are all part of the zone, will be part of the zoning process.
I see.
When they
Okay.
get it, because they will have to still go through site plan review.
Okay.
it has a lot of steps still to go.
And there's a lot of.
Even, yes,
specifics.
even if the annexation happens, we still have site plan, special use permit review.
You've got subdivision. You
We
gotta
got
do everything.
Subdivision
that.
review.
Yeah.
We have a whole
Yep.
whole raft of rules, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your talk. Thank you.
I know you guys have a particular agenda, but can we do the vote now, or do you want to?
Oh, no, we're absolutely doing the vote now.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's on this agenda right here is public hearing discussion and motion to authorize. I need a motion to authorize changing the date of the public hearing for the annexation petition from May 15th to June 5th, with the understanding that the applicant has waived the slapping on the wrist of not doing it in the right time. And we will also have the ability to discuss the timing of a follow-up hearing if needed.
And invite the village for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes,
So we're scheduling a joint public hearing.
with the village, and they know of that
Peacefully
date,
with
yeah.
the village attorney.
Right.
Set
Okay,
that up.
so that was a motion.
At 7 o'clock. Supervisor
Yes,
said
it'll be
7
here at
o'clock.
7 o'clock,
Okay.
right here, 7 p.m. in the courthouse.
So
Do I-
shall I second that? Was that a motion?
That was a motion.
Okay, second.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion in Zoom land? Estes going no? Estes good. Edgar? None? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you, folks.
Aye.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very
Estes.
much. Thank you, Randolph. Get some sleep.
Oh, he's not done.
I'm not,
He's not done.
Yeah, we can.
I'll sleep on the plane.
Okay,
Gotta
thank
love
you.
lie flat.
Victoria, did you leave your gum?
Oh, that's not mine. I think it's Kitty's.
Kitty, did you leave your gum? Oh, okay. All right. I make a, thank you.
Night, Victoria. Thanks for coming.
I make a motion to go into executive session. Do I have a second?
Second, purposes of.
Review of work history of particular persons. You guys and over there, Essie and Edgar, did you get the alternate Zoom, the second Zoom for executive session?
I did, yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so
Thank you so much.
Rosanna, we're gonna just turn the video and audio off for now while we go into the other room.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, Susan, but we have to do this. I'm sorry.
That's okay. They're in executive session and have been for 30 minutes.
They've been in there for 30 minutes?
Mhm. And then after that, Edgar is going to give a presentation.
On,
I don't know. And there are a few bills that have to be paid. And then they're gonna talk about affordable housing. Jackie went first.
oh, she was there?
Mhm.
She was at the,
I can't mute myself.
you what?
I can't mute myself. Because no matter what I do, I'm still a co-host of this thing. So. Something's very wrong. Anyway, I have a while yet. Yeah. Muriel and George and a lawyer. Just rearrange the dates of the hearings to June 5th.
Dates,
The public hearing for annexation.
June 5th. You don't have your usual
I know,
audio.
because I'm also the host.
Little screen of. No. Music.
The board.
It's the.
Mhm. I don't think there's anybody else.
Possible to put this back.
No, not very far.
Okay. Where's your mouse? I just. See. Want to mute yourself?
I don't know if I'm this one or that.
Says you. But everybody's muted right now.
It's mute me.
Okay. I make a motion, we come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Fine.
All right. We took the following action. Where is it? Oh, shoot, I left it in there. We took the following action. The board recommends to reassign Jerome Milton to police officer effective February 23rd, 2025 at the union rate. All right, where are we on the agenda? I think we're at the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve and authorize the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Authorization to expend the sum.
Aye.
Oh, aye. Yeah, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Authorization to expend the sum of $2,779.31 to Smitty's Body Shop for the repair of the building department's 2022 Trailblazer for body damage not covered by insurance. Do I have a motion?
I make the motion.
Thank you, Edgar. I second. Any discussion?
Yes. So I printed out this meeting estimate. And I was just trying to understand why the insurance did not cover it.
Because we're self-insured. We don't have,
Self-insured.
right, that we don't have insurance on our vehicles. That was a new one for me too.
And we spend, I forget how many thousands of dollars in insurance, I thought.
We spend insurance on health insurance and things like that and liability insurance, but we don't spend insurance on our vehicles.
So I didn't know, just saying that all the vehicles that we have, whatever number they are, 20, 30, 40.
Oh, we don't have that many vehicles. You mean the big highway vehicles? Yeah, no, we don't.
I mean, maybe we should look into that. I don't know if municipalities do that.
Usually group insurance is cheaper, state governments, so I'm surprised. So in other words, there was no coverage on this vehicle?
Right.
And that's the case for all the vehicles that we own and equipment?
It's the case for now there's the three vehicles that the building department have and the 4 or 5 vehicles that the police department has.
Only for those vehicles?
That's my understanding, but we'd have to get clarification.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know about the big highway
you
stuff.
say you need to do this, you gotta get the car on the road. It's just a puzzling why. Now you've given an explanation, and then maybe we should pursue that to get
Yeah.
some kind of group insurance.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna vote.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you, Missy. Request authorization to modify the 2025 adopted budget for cost overruns as follows. They're listed here, so. Does anybody want to make that motion? I lost my pen.
So moved.
Second, discussion?
So the explanation that I heard was that, this is for overrun within the police budget, and that money is being moved from one category to another within the police budget.
So this is in the A fund,
Right, 395.99.
right? And so there's a police equipment that was needed more money. So some of it came from the police, what do you call it? Contracted equipment, 3120 covered some of that. And then some of it went from the contingency to cover these association dues from the municipality and the greenhouse gas inventory.
I want to stay on the police thing, given
Okay.
the information that Randall Leverett has shared with us, that when he was a commissioner, that they were clearly involved with the budget for the police department and all these matters, went through the police commission. And the understanding is that the police budget is over 40% of the town, and we have close to 30 employees altogether. And that the police commission, gathering more and more every day. My understanding is that they have a responsibility, in terms of the police department, supervising the police chief, evaluating the police chief, expenditures at some level of involvement in complaints. So I'm gonna vote for this, but I think it'll be one of the things that we need to clarify in chapter 34 revisions as to the responsibilities of the police commission, whether in fact it includes, overseeing the budget, helping to approve the budget, etc.
So I
Which is-
think what Randall was explaining is that in when you were preparing the budget, when the police department prepares the budget, the police commission was involved in preparing the budget.
Right,
And then once it's prepared, it becomes part of the big budget that we went through that whole process on. And then actually, the actual expenditure of the budget is what it is for the operations that are happening.
well, he made it sound that when we say we were involved with ordering bullets or something like that.
Yeah,
So.
no, I think it was when you're doing the big budget. And
Right.
because we did that too. We said, why do you need 8,000 bullets? Can you cut that back at all? We did that last year.
So since police commission theoretically will have the best understanding of the police department and function and all that. I think that changes in the budget, like the request for budget modification, which I know you said came from the finance office. In
Right.
other words, they noticed there's an issue there,
Mhm.
but I'm sure you consulted with the police chief and you agreed or explained.
Well, you all see what you signed off on these vouchers. You see what the expenditures are every month. The town board does. I do too. We all see
Right.
who's spending what.
Legally, 2 or 3 times a year. I don't see all vouchers.
Randall,
That's
You
just-
see them every other month,
I think Randall and I did them last month,
right?
and I don't recall exactly what the voucher was that added up to this amount.
You can go and look at it, but, so anyway, but you are seeing, the town board members and me are seeing month to month how the spending is going in every line of every fund of every department, versus what's been set aside. So we see if it's starting to, get, especially if it's something that's, there's so much for the year and all of a sudden we see it's this early in the year changing or something like that, then and you have the chance to ask the questions, which you guys do. So you are looking at it. You maybe haven't been putting together in your mind about the way that,
See only part, maybe 1/3 of all the vouchers that come in. I don't see all the vouchers that come in.
you see them every other month.
It must have this 1 month that I don't see them, so that's, 6 months out of the year that I
Right,
don't
but
see
then
them.
when you see it the next month, you see what's changed. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
if you want to pay more attention to it, the police part of it than the others, then that's the way to do it.
It's looking maybe that should be part of what's considered, that they have no involvement in it. Or
Well, I can
just-
tell you, the police commission's not going to sign off on vouchers.
They don't sign up on them, but they understand theoretically, they should be understanding the operation better than, town board members in general, because it should be hands-on. This is the way that will explain
Okay,
it.
well, you know what? You're right. Take a look at chapter 34 and see how you can build that into it.
Right.
Or just as well, of course, there are 2 town board members on the commission now, but as an experiment, you could bring the vouchers to the police commission meeting, because Anthony doesn't know.
Yeah,
what
but you
he should
you
expect.
cannot take the vouchers
Oh,
anywhere.
that's
Take them out.
Do not take
Well,
them out of
you-
the building.
You can.
You can
add
take
up
that,
the
you can,
expenditures.
well, you can take that monthly
Different
thing.
ways of looking at the-
Yeah.
at the budget.
Yeah. 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 Okay, so are we voting on this budget modifications? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Everything that's here, you're not breaking it down by pieces.
No, the
The
whole
thing.
right,
Okay. got it.
okay. Okay, the next one is Whispering Pines. This is the construction company that worked on Henry W. They actually submitted pay app number 10. Previously, we need to authorize paying them sort of retroactively for their last pay app. And I need a motion.
So moved, and also Henry W. Du Bois is open. Well done.
Well, the barriers are gone. The work's not finished. The bureaucracy's still there. The reimbursements are still there. It's not a done project, but
But you
people
can
can go on it. Yeah.
Walk
It
up-
looks beautiful and people are using it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
just
yeah.
in time for this great weather. So yes,
Yeah.
well done.
You know what? I have to say that our highway department, when we recognized where there were problems, Our highway department took care of all of them they physically could, except they could not move a telephone pole.
Hmm.
And so that had to get done. And Central Hudson, to their credit, there's a lot of complaints about a lot of things
Yeah.
warranted. But in this case, when we picked up the phone and said, we got a problem, they could have said, not our fault. You know, they could
Right.
have said, we don't have to do it, but they did. And they got Spectrum and Verizon to move their, people came out and did it. So, and I thank the guy very much. So, okay, so I think I had a motion. Did we have a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Rosanna, did Kitty just second her own motion?
Yes, she did.
Okay, I'll second it. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay. Okay, this other one, I meant to bring, I meant to, pull this up on Ulster County Mapper and show you what this is. There is a gentleman who has come to, I think he came to the assessor and then to the building department. This parcel is a teensy little sliver on Putt, and it's between Putt and the thruway. And it's a small piece of land that he somehow got when he bought another piece of land and it got thrown in. And he doesn't know what to do with, he doesn't want it. And he asked if the town wanted it. And I don't know really what we would do with it either, but,
So no, thank you.
Well, it's 0.41 acres. It's almost.
0.41, yeah,
0.41.
yeah, 0.41 acre.
0.41.
And it's like this, it's a skinny little triangle that goes to a little point. So it's impossible to build on. You couldn't have any kind of setbacks and stuff. So I can see why he doesn't particularly want it.
Mhm.
We did check, it's costing him about $40 a year for taxes. It's not a horrible burden, but I can see why he just like, "Ugh." But I fear that, I think anytime the town takes a piece of property, it has to be available for public access and use. We'd have to
Right.
mow it or put a bench on it or something. I don't know. So,
Well, it doesn't always have to have a public access, but it does have to have a public benefit. And
right. And it has to be maintained, and it's,
so maybe one of the adjacent neighbors would like to add half an acre to their property, but I don't think it's right for the town.
I agree. I think it would be unduly burdensome for us.
So,
you have
Yeah,
anything?
the reliability associated with such a small, unusable,
Right.
piece.
Okay, so we're saying
no, thank you.
we will let him know that we appreciate his offer, but it's not something the town can accept. Okay. Oh, okay, this is a sort of sad one. Authorization to approve the resignation of Fire Inspector Christian Kitchen effective May 9th.
Mhm.
Yes.
Good guy, I'm sorry to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are sorry to lose him.
He does a good job with his job. He's ambitious, he's energetic, and he'll be making somebody else very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
authorization
appreciate
to
his
approve the
service.
resignation. Yeah, we appreciate his service. So on favor, wait, I make a motion that we approve the
Second.
resignation, second by Essie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, there's another part to this. We want to replace him. You'd think
Mhm.
this would be easy. We have to deal with the civil service list. It's kind of a mess.
Never easy.
No, and so there is an active list for building inspector 1. They've been pre-screened, they've passed their exam. It would be the fastest way to make sure we get qualified applicants. Jean created a position that we would have to then have county, I don't understand all of it exactly, but, and so we need to, agree to send this position to county for approval.
Building inspector 1,
Right.
and that
Mhm.
includes fire inspection.
So any code enforcement officer is also a fire inspector,
Oh,
is my
okay.
understanding. But this is really,
His work was fire inspection.
no, that was his level though, that he got paid at. So he became certified code enforcement officer and he was a fire inspector. So a certified code enforcement officer is a fire inspector.
Okay.
I just found that out this week too, so,
Okay.
yeah. But he was at that level and get paid. This civil service stuff is very
So
confusing.
the new position will capture all those functions.
That's my understanding, yeah. there's something called a municipal code enforcement, MCO, a municipal code officer, and it's not that. I don't know, it's very,
So, I move that we are authorizing you or Jean to create that position.
it's to submit this for, to county for approval.
Okay.
Okay. I second that. All in favor? Okay,
Aye.
thank you. All right, chapter 34, we're gonna postpone for the police commission.
Police commission already started a process of looking at it carefully, so you have 2 board members and a community member. And we put the word out to try and fill the other 2 seats that we have. And so repeat it loud and clear to the public out there. You're interested in serving on the New Falls Police Commission, please submit a letter of interest that indicates your background and why you want to be on the police commission, subject to an interview in public here.
Very good. And we'll make sure that gets posted and gets on the e-alerts, you know, as an announcement, stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so we didn't have to move any, other than, that was just, we don't have to make any kind of motion on that. The affordable housing discussion. Susan, finally we get to your part. So we heard a lot, we got a lot of very specific comments from the UACT housing group, which we will take into account. And I think where I am with this is that we've got this template. We know it's not perfect. It's a template. It's a place to start. I think we definitely need to go and look at the village code and, you know, and see where they are and understand and ask them, how's it working? The thing about the 10%, clearly, they've already got 15% when the number of units gets somewhat bigger. The thing about dispersing or not dispersing affordable units in with that's a tough one. I've gotten asked by more than one attorney, this thing about points and stuff like that is, how do you not run afoul of the fair housing? You know, so this is another thing to
Well,
look at.
those points have been adopted in the village
Mhm,
and in the town of Lloyd
mhm.
and have not been challenged.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
well.
But
yeah,
it's just,
it-
but I
let's
see
go
the,
with what's working.
and the template actually has the points in a different way. It gives the most points to first responders and then to, I can't remember, it's teachers and municipal employees, but like
Mhm.
that. And then it gives the fewest points to people who have lived here a long time. The village has flipped it the other way, although they don't give as many points for anybody. And I think that's to take care of one of the questions I've been asked is, how do you make sure your affordable housing just doesn't go to all the students who have only here for a short time? How do you make sure it goes to someone who's been living here for 10 years or something and is, you know, struggling? And there's also this difference between moderate income, low income, workforce housing. You know, there's all these distinctions to make as well. So we've got a lot of work to do, but I think, and Randall's point was that we should get some expert advice, and I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah, I want to comment that Randall Everett, a board member, has expressed some concerns, you know, and I want to make sure that we don't overlook that in conversations to come. And we should be aware of his thoughts.
Right, and I think if he's got someone or some agency in mind, then I think, you know, we need to explore what that is, but I think we don't stop. We do not stop. If we stop, it's, you know, analysis paralysis. We have to keep working and get to the point where we have what we think is a reasonable draft with input from the Housing Smart Community, with input from Housing UACT, with you know, input with our folks in the village who are doing this, living this, working this. And then when we think we have something, we make sure that we get that kind of, you know, review and insight from somebody who's the, you know,
Right.
the saint of housing.
Well,
I don't know.
Susan, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, well, I did go to the meeting on Tuesday night, which we were all, most of us were at, I think, or at least some of us were at, where the consultant for the town, for the village, was talking about
Oh, you're talking about the dissolution
the
meeting?
dissolution
Yeah,
meeting.
okay.
And I was struck by a man who got up, I think his name is Terry Dolan.
Uh-huh.
And he said, make no mistake about it, we're operating a housing authority.
Right.
So that was like a light bulb that went off in my head because I've been struggling with the notion that there has to be someone who would implement these parts of the law, you know, or, you know, the whole thing. And is that, I looked up whether or not the village of New Paltz was a housing authority, and it's not a state sanctioned housing authority. They may be functioning as a housing authority, doing all of these activities and qualifying people and getting all their money together and their lists and stuff. But they're not a formal housing
Oh,
authority.
that's interesting. I didn't I didn't know that. I thought they were like, yeah. Huh.
So is that something that we're saying that we want to have as a governmental function? I mean, it sounds like we want to have those things happen, but do we want to have them happen as a part of the town's function? Or is that something we would have someone else do? I don't know. I mean, I
Well,
think
Kitty
that's,
had asked if there's a county body that does that, you know, I mean, you're right, it's a big
There
job.
isn't a
Yeah.
county
Mhm.
body, but
There's not.
you know, we talked about this at the Housing Smart Task Force meeting, which is are all, I think there are 21 towns and villages in the county, and they're
Right.
each going to have, and because most of us are towns, and
There's like
let's
three
be honest,
villages.
we're not gonna see the volume of development that a village or urban center is gonna see. So does it make sense? And this is a question for us to ask Kai, I think, the you know, the senior planner for Ulster County, who has really been directing this affordable housing task force, to say, wouldn't one employee of the county be able to really effectively act as that housing authority?
Not one employee, but one group or one
Yeah, I
arm.
mean,
Yeah,
one employee. Right now, the Affordable Housing Task Force at the county is offering technical assistance. I mean, they have so many hats they're wearing. It just feels like one of those hats could be a countywide housing administrator.
yeah,
So I think the village calls itself an affordable housing board,
right.
right? So I was surprised to see the word authority that last night, Tuesday night.
you know, a housing authority can do a lot of things that a town or a village can't do unless they're a formal housing authority. So it's something to keep in mind. And I'm going to bring it up at the Smart Housing Community Initiative meeting next week. And we are comparing the two. That's what our job is this month, is comparing the two.
Oh, good, great.
Also, I wanted to bring to your attention that there was another template. It was about accessory dwelling units and tax.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure that everybody paid attention to that one as well, because it's another way to make accessory dwelling units very affordable for the people who are living in them and for
Right.
the people who are hosting them.
The ones that build them at their primary residence and make them available, right?
Right.
Yeah. And even for people, so I thought that maybe was for low income people who were doing accessory dwellings. I thought there was maybe
It does have
an
an income
Mhm.
guideline, but I can't at this point in the evening remember what it
So
My impression when I read some of that information was that someone building a house in New Paltz is not going to be meet those criteria that they were talking about. It was really to encourage people with lower income. I think the impression that I got from reading
Or
some
to,
of
or
the-
to help support them do it,
Well, technical support, but it's actually financial support.
right? So,
I
yeah,
Yeah.
thought it was up to $125,000 to add an ADU to an existing.
Right, but I think there was an income component to it.
Yes, there is, but no, I think Edgar is,
I think it can be part. well, if you
right,
build a-
nobody's gonna be
if you-
building,
Well, you can build a house and put an accessory apartment, right?
yeah.
But I don't think
Well,
someone in New Paltz is gonna be eligible for that kind of funding.
well.
Probably a lot more
There's
people
lots of
than you
houses.
think.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I've been out walking the streets. There's different neighborhoods and different, yeah.
So the thing that was interesting to me at that dissolution meeting was that apparently the median assessed price of a home
Oh, I don't know where he got that number.
is $215,000.
I don't know that that was
In the
accurate.
county, maybe?
No,
Mm.
yeah, I don't think that was, I don't know where he pulled that from.
Well, at some point, they will put those slides up on the village dissolution page, but I mean, it doesn't seem possible. I don't
No, well, I
understand
can
how they
tell
got that
you
number.
that the Ulster County median home value, because the CPF, the Conservation Preservation Fund, has to go by that. It is at 425 now.
Right, but this, I thought, was specific to the village. I thought that's what they're,
Well, how do you even do it in the village? You've got apartments, you got all this stuff. I don't know how you.
well, I don't know.
Maybe assessed value?
Maybe
The
assessed.
median assessed value.
Well, assessed values are like,
But even so, I mean,
no, that, because they haven't been reassessed in forever.
even so. it
No,
just
so
doesn't-
you go back 15 years, that maybe
Is
is
that
what
the
it,
last readout?
I don't, yeah, it's been a long time. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the housing, smart housing group is looking at the template and the village law
And
Mhm.
com-
and seeing where there's things that are different, where, and then maybe, which is great, because I think that's what we need, is to look at that comparison. I don't want this to slide, like a
Mhm.
lot of our projects do.
Mhm.
Hopefully we keep it moving so that we have an understanding of what we can do and what we want to do, and we
Yeah.
continue to get input on it.
Well, I think what really, my computer has died, so
Does it need to be
I-
plugged in?
it does need to be plugged
Uh-huh.
in, but I didn't bring the plugger in her.
Oh,
So, what we've been doing is looking at the template, and you can, because it's a Word document, we
You
can
can make-
plug
yeah.
in where we want to see
comments and
changes.
stuff, yeah.
So I've added some of the ones from Jackie, and I've said, this is from UACT. But if you want to do that, Susan, with just yourself or with the committee, the more we can actually get it fed into the document,
Mhm.
we sort of have a red line document to go ahead with, I think.
Yeah, I think that's good. And I also, I think it's worth mentioning. Number one, I saw Kai at this, Ulster Core, conference on Friday, and I said to him, I think most of the people on the town board weren't on the town board when you initially came to the town and talked about the program. Am I right about that?
Yes.
Okay, so he said, well, I'll come back.
I think
and talk
SC and
about-"
Kitty were,
No, it was Neil, Julie, Alex, maybe Essie,
yeah, SC, but yeah.
but no.
Okay, so he could come back and talk to us
He
again?
could come back and talk to you again, and that would answer some of your questions. I feel like, I can understand why it would be good to get a consultant at this point about the zoning, but I don't think I can articulate it in a way that represents what, I don't know. I think it would be very healthy and good to have that comparison between the zoning that's there and the zoning that could be there. If
When you're
the,
talking, so now you're talking zoning, and that just, I don't understand zoning. I mean, what do you,
There's a component in the task force world that talks about upzoning.
I know, but and
okay, so the other night at the dissolution meeting, the consultant was saying, look, you can probably do all of this stuff in-house. It's no problem. You don't need to get a consultant. It'll probably cost $70,000 anyway. And I mean, it was all kind of whirling in my mind, but the county would pay for a consultant to do a comparison between the zoning that's here and the zoning that's in the village. Compare the two of them, you'd be a step
Oh.
ahead in the long run.
So when you're saying zoning, are you
Mhm.
talking, are you talking R1, R3s, setbacks, heights? Is that kind of zoning you're talking about? Are you talking about affordable housing code, affordable housing regulation? Like,
I think more affordable housing regulations
yeah,
and yeah, and I think that it would save time. If the dissolution happens, then there would be that kind of hybrid thing that's supposed to occur.
yeah.
You'd be a step ahead, and you'd be a step ahead on the municipal what do you call it? The general plan, the general,
Oh, the comp plan, yeah,
yeah,
the comprehensive plan.
comprehensive
The
plan, I
master
think,
plan.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, well, okay, because see, to me, zoning means, because I've been on the planning board, I mean, I'm thinking zoning like that, as opposed to this particular specific thing about, which is more saying that we have to make sure we have housing that fits a range of people's incomes. So
Right. Mhm.
Edgar's falling
Right.
asleep. Edgar, you falling asleep?
Sorry.
Are you falling asleep?
No, no.
Okay.
See,
It's
I
hard
have
to
that
hear.
effect on men.
Yeah.
So, we actually spent a lot of money on an updated comprehensive plan, which is on our website. We never adopted it because we just spent so much money. Then we were told we were gonna have to spend probably another $80,000 to $100,000 to rezone to meet the new comprehensive plan. But it addresses so many of the things that we're facing now. We would not have to do a lot of work on that. It talks about an innovation zone around the college where we mix commercial and learning. It talks about affordable housing. It talks about keeping some of the rural agricultural land, rural and agricultural. Talks about food scarcity, which is going to be a thing someday. So anyway, we should all just,
It's a
and
good piece of work, and it's from 2011, I think.
yeah,
mean,
and there were village members and town members. It was a
Oh, yeah.
joint
Yeah.
plan.
So-
Yeah.
Right, that's the other thing. It was a joint.
Distracted a moment ago, was, you're talking about creating a code, in effect,
Correct.
correct? And I'm going through that process, and the board is and police commission of code. And it's very hard and demanding because you need to, sort of, determine what are the constructs, right? Then you gotta think about what are the questions that need to be answered as you go forward in this process. And then trying to do a group document, Word, whatever it is. And that we are going through that right now. So I talk to you about the process, not so much the content, right? It is quite a challenge when you're involved with the code. So you might need to look at the code that we have, get recommendations from someone in Kingston. But it is a challenging thing, and you need to get some kind of consensus, which is kind of what I'm working on with the police commission, and the town hall, is what can we agree to, right? And, because you just can't just start jotting down, ideas, they have to be concepts, constructs, that you answer and then shape the technical language, which is the important thing.
A lot of times what happens when you're doing something like this is what they call charrettes, where you get different people from the community in, so you're getting viewpoints, and because if you have too small of a group working on it, you get kind of like groupthink going in one
Right.
place, but then everybody else is not getting, so I mean, that's the kind of thing, if you have money and you have consultants and you can do these kinds of things,
Well,
it's
I
great.
hinted earlier that one of our board members has strong thoughts about this, and it would be prudent to talk to him about his concerns, because they're gonna surface,
Yeah.
so there is also kind of a political process also involved in bringing a code about. Because you're trying to get consensus from a variety of people in the community and from a town board.
Right. So this, again, this is a tricky thing because we're trying to move forward with something it's
Mhm.
gonna be new and different for the town, but there's the dissolution thing out there because, you know, and they've got something that maybe, well, they said it's gonna be easily 2 to 3 years to work through the zoning,
Right.
the codes that are there, saying, how do we merge them, integrate them? How do we take what's, you know, good in the village and say, oh, we could apply that in the town, or no, we can, but if we change it, or how do we say that doesn't work anymore, you know, that's gonna be another
So
huge
Susan,
process,
I
yeah.
think, I think zoning will happen after we get this affordable housing law done.
Yeah.
Because I think the thing about this law is that it kind of works anywhere that somebody wants to develop a parcel. So, and there are bonus densities, you know, that are built into it, that if you're gonna put in 10 affordable units, you get 10 market rate units. So there are things that zoning isn't going to impede, because I think that they're built into this.
Right, the zoning can start to look at a different vision of how else New Paltz puts housing, where they put it, how they put it. Right now, it's just kind of happening, like Tim said the other day, we tear down one old building. It wasn't housing, but then we put up housing, you know, because it's a space. We've torn down something, but now there's a block of land that we can choose to build housing on instead of another commercial thing or, you know, whatever. So, yeah.
Have you looked at any codes anywhere else in the country? Does it? Susan, have you,
Have we?
yeah,
We've mostly looked around the county.
Huh.
I've looked around a little bit around the state and some in New England where they
Okay.
seem to be doing some more social housing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that we could construe as exciting if we weren't so already crazed and overburdened in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one thing that Jackie was saying was that when do we finally get a building that's all affordable? We've got one, it's for low-income seniors going up.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
There's that one. It came at a cost to the community because they got a pilot. So the taxes, you know, the property tax is not, so the community is subsidizing it. And that's, you know, that's a decision. Would it be really cool if we could find another one of those things and work with Repco or somebody and not only make it affordable housing, but make it super, you know, using innovative materials and stuff, like whatever. I don't know. It would be a great, is there an architecture school around here that, you know, has grad
that,
students
you
that
know,
want to do a
now you're
project?
talking about zoning again, which could be that we require a higher standard than just LEED certification. Or if you're gonna get density bonuses. You know, it just drives me crazy that we don't require solar parking canopies.
Well, they're expensive, but why
Well-
don't we at least require them on roofs?
You could.
You know, new properties
think
have to
that-
have sprinkler systems in them, but they don't have to have solar
Yeah,
panels.
and you just look at the massive size of parking lots. It just would generate so much, anyway, it's my pet peeve.
Okay. I don't know, we need to keep working on this and it needs some concentrated work
Okay,
outside of the meetings. We
it-
just need to keep reporting on it.
But anyway, if the public wants to take a look at it and plug in, you know, it's a Word document on our website. If you just plug in and say, no, I think it should be 6 rather than 10, which is something that Jackie suggested,
Mhm.
get those suggestions too.
Well, I think to actually make it happen, we'd have to try to set up, you know, a public session somewhere, like
Yeah.
they did for Empire State Trail, like they did for, you know, we tried to do with some of our community greenhouse gas stuff, so, yeah. All right, I think we're at the end of our agenda. We had some liaison reports that everybody can read.
I just want to add, at the last meeting, we talked about the meeting that we had with some folks from the Light Pedestrian, the Oak Hill Valley Land Trust about the Springtown Bridge and the meeting that we're going to have on the 15th, on the 16th.
Has it got a date now? I can't
Yeah.
remember.
Really?
I didn't see that
I saw an email, I put it in my calendar.
Well, there's a doodle poll. But
Yeah.
I didn't know it got,
Such-
okay.
I didn't get it.
Okay, so yeah, the Springtown Bridge, the Springtown Bridge is showing its age, needs some work for sure. We have,
Wow,
oh boy, it's really,
wants us to go home.
it wants us to go home. We have a very, we have a preliminary immediate plan, which is to replace about 40 boards. The next step after that would require money, some kind of grant or support from county, state, whatever. It's part of the Empire State Trail. It's iconic. It's used. It meets a lot of it checks a lot of boxes for, you know, alternate transportation and being scenic and being a tourist attraction and all that. It unfortunately doesn't check the boxes for new trails and extensions of trails. It needs to be a repaired or, you know, trail. It's, yeah, so we have to work on that, but it needs a structural engineer to go through and make a plan, and then it needs construction money. So we'll see what we can come up with. I think Christy was trying to get a bunch of people together that might be able to influence that. I don't know how many of them actually have
I thought we
replied.
got a doodle poll, but I never saw the result.
I saw 6 or 7 people responded, and none of them were
That's fine.
none of them were the politicos.
Oh,
So anyway, that's just what's going on with that. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second,
Second, that.
all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night, all.
Night.
Bye. Bye, Rosanna.